Hello, friends, patrons of The Edge and Group Tarot, and apparently this little gnat that is just flying around here at sunset. Welcome to the recording or the replay of November's tarot forecast. My name is Kate Mura with grouptarot.com. And before all of my readings, I pull a few cards just to feel where the energy is going and sitting to have a bit more of a container for our time together and the reading for November 2024. And the cards that came up from Teresa Pridemore's Spirit Oracle deck are Undo and Spirit. And in getting the Undo and the Control art, I'll delete along with some of the technology issues that I have had. I'm like, I wonder if this recording is going to get all the way through or if I'm going to have to stop and start again. And we'll see what happens. We will see how the spirit moves. What will connect to the highest good and the creation of a best world for November. Best standing for beautiful, equitable, and ethical, sustainable, and in a timely fashion. I have 4 decks in front of me to consider for the reading. Modern Witch, created by Lisa Sturl, that I chopped off all of the white borders for. I like the symbolism of no white framing. Little bits that we can do to decenter whiteness. Remember that we are actually part of the global minority and that our Black and brown and indigenous kin are the global majority here on this good earth, our only home. The other deck for our consideration for this reading is Daniela Manouchius Forster and Selena Joy Hewitt, I believe, did the book. Daniela Manouchius Forster wrote, did the illustrations for, I always call it by its subname, like the little tagline, Tarot for Alchemical Transformation. I think its main name is something about new journeys, but Tarot for Alchemical Transformation is always the one that sticks with me. And ooh, we may have our reading just in the card flips here. Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups. The other deck that wanted to be 2 more decks are down here for consideration. Lua Tarot, created by Marie Bento after she digitized wood carvings done by artists in the 1800s, where we have the Queen of Coins. And let's see what our fourth card comes up as from the this is a crowdsourced tarot created by witches here in the Pacific Northwest, and it is not what many of us, I think, were hoping for. Instead of our 4th queen, the Queen of Swords. And of course, queens can be in all bodies, all sex, gender, combinations. So for November, we have 3 queens, and death. So, what I love about this death card is that it really dives deep into the regeneration and the composting. Those beautiful green sprouts are coming out of the loam, out of the good black, dark brown earth. Uh, and it also looks like, yeah, looking closely at it, there are a bunch of little dried leaves and things. So um, it's funny. There's part of me that feels like uh, whichever one of my witch kin in the area took this picture, did so in autumn. And then there's another part of me. I'm just shifting my other decks, the remaining decks out of the way. Um, and then there's another part of me that feels like what's coming up are crocuses, which are, springtime flowers. So I am not, those of you who are familiar with my channel, who are familiar with the card of the week, that my mailing list gets out every Sunday or Monday, depending on your time zone in the world. I'm not much for predictive readings. I like feeling into energy and looking at group paths that we are on and the possible outcome should we choose to stay on our current path. I am very much a proponent of free will and intentional choice, and that we can and do affect this good earth, our only home. But I gotta say, as long as we all in the United States, anyway, keep up some really good work, this bodes very well for having our first Black Asian woman in the White House working to dismantle the systems that are hurting so many Americans and allowing the regeneration to burgeon. Obviously, everybody who watches this channel may have different political views, and that is absolutely okay. And should you feel compelled to post anything in the comments, please be respectful. And if you are citing information, if you are sharing information, please cite your sources, or make sure that you say that it comes from your first person lived experience. We welcome I statements on this channel. What I am loving about the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Coins with Death for November, of course, I am filming this on the end of October. Patrons get early access. And so I'm filming this before Halloween, All Hallows, Samhain, Dia de los Muertos, All Souls. And so, of course, death is also a big piece of the energy that is literally around me, us, this reading right now, whenever this comes across your table. And it's so important to honor our ancestors, honor our beloved, our mighty, our powerful dead, the women and queens and thems and royals who have gone before, but we don't always remember their names, um, or perchance we're not taught their names. And what I'm loving is one of the many things that I'm loving is that for this November, it feels like a big reminder that all of us are needed for change. All of us are needed to share our light and share our vision and to speak up and to defend those who cannot speak up for themselves for whatever reason. That love and dignity and strength and humanity and the younger generations, the next generations, the indigenous philosophy of remembering to think 7 generations ahead are in play now. And it also is feeling very much like these 4 cards are a lot of the energy leading up into the election that is happening in the United States, Turtle Island, which is where I reside. And that feels very siloed and not necessarily pertinent for those of y'all who are tuning in and listening in from other countries. And it also feels like it's all this energy of these 4 cards feels very much like the beginning of the month rather than the whole month, that there's like and one of the things that readers always have to be super aware of is projecting our own situations and our own circumstances onto the cards. And so I want to pull maybe another 4 for the rest of the month. And I think I'm going to continue in the one from each deck. So we get strength from the modern witch. We get the high priestess from alchemical. We get the 7 of Wands from Lua Tarot, and we get the Lovers. Oh, and it's kittens. Oh, and in the background, the little heart says I'm gorgeous inside. Oh my gosh. I could have sworn that I have gone I have gone through and used that deck, but I don't remember that card as the Lovers. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So, looking at these 4, Strength, the High Priestess, the 7 of Wands, and the Lovers for the rest of November. Oh, like it is such a magically potent time. Strength, Lovers, High Priestess. My eye is drawn to how the sword is pointing towards that swirling nebula galaxy, and this high priestess with her sword, also feels very much Queen of Swords. Like, so we do, in a way, have all of the queens at the table, all of the royals at the table. And so, and of course, in November for the US is Thanksgiving and the National Day of Mourning, and all all of those feelings are, can be, and should be at the table. All of those conflicting feelings. And with the 7 of Wands, this defensive energy, one of the things that I always like to remember when the 7 of Wands comes up, of yes, absolutely, we have the strength to defend ourselves, defend our friends, defend our beliefs, and defensive, like, there's a lot of nuance around defensiveness, and why you, me, any one of us may get defensive, and like thinking about why that happens, thinking about what triggers that. But also, one of the things that I love to remember is, with all of these 6 wands, or in this case, arrows, staffs, pikes, that are coming towards our central, very muscular and mustachioed figure, we don't know who's on the other side. And it can be so easy to fall into an expectation, especially for anybody who is used to having to defend their right to exist. Queer people, trans people, people of color, women, AFAB, non-conforming, non-binary, all of the people who have to, who's just, who our there, as if I'm not queer. I pass really well, so I certainly don't have to fight nearly as much as some of my LGBTQAI2 plus kin. That takes its toll. It is energetically draining, and the one of the many beautiful things about these 8 cards for November 2024 is, it's royals, it's the high priestess, it's lovers, it's strength. Like, yeah, it can be exhausting and draining, and we have the energy and reserves to do it. But also, there can be this assumption for those of us that are used to fighting and, like, having to dig our heels in to defend our worth and value and prove our worth and value. One, with these 3, 4 queens, high priestess, to remember we just have that. We are valuable exactly as we are. We have been working and practicing and studying and doing the work and being with community for a long time. And we learned from a combination of our own lived experiences and being on the shoulders of others, learning from the magical and mystical traditions of others, the women of the Golden Dawn, the uh, high priestesses of the circles, the early authors, all of that. And when we have an expectation of needing to fight and defend ourselves, it can be really easy to present that energy first and to expect that whomever is coming at us is needs to be convinced that we are as wonderful and as powerful and as intelligent and as observant and as grounded and as colorful and diverse as we are, where it's also just as possible that some of these six rods that are coming towards us actually want to join us. They want to help hold the line. They want to help defend the forests and protect the waters and free the rivers and stand and work and be with us. And it feels very much like the more we can lead and live with love, regardless of what happens on November 5th for those of us in the US, and to remember our magic and to remember the mystery and to remember that we are cradled in the sickle of that moon and that our dreams and ideas can form, literally form new worlds, new cosmos. That's huge for us this November. Uh, if you want to dive deeper or see how this month will really affect you specifically, feel free to reach out to schedule a reading. And otherwise, I will see you in my next video in a new year as I celebrate the witch's year at Samhain. Have a beautiful day.